I really like this chart. As a matter of fact, it's become one of my favorite charts because not only does it speak to the truth of the serious daily and yearly border invasion into our country, this chart also saved President Trump's life when he was almost assassinated in a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, when a would-be assassin fired at President Trump, bullets flying into the crowd, killing Corey Comprator, but also grazing President Trump's ear as he turned his head to look at this chart and inform the American people about the invasion our country has been under. But the American people are suffering it every single day.
I want to ensure that data in this committee is used accurately and portrayed accurately. And I want to talk about Donald Trump's favorite chart here, which we used yesterday. In this chart, titled Illegal Immigration into the U.S., Biden's world record illegal immigrants, many from prisons and mental institutions, also terrorists, Donald Trump has said this chart saved his life. And yesterday, in our full committee hearing, Republicans, my colleagues here, repeatedly used this chart to allege that the Biden administration has an open border policy. But this life-saving chart says, well, not what Republicans think it says.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and America is at a breaking point, facing a full-on assault from extremists bent on tearing down our democracy. And at the center of this fight stands Delia Ramirez. She's not just presenting facts, she's delivering a reality check to the MAGA movement.
First of all, I don't know where the Trumpsters and Republicans of the world who like to trot out this chart get the idea that immigration into the United States is a, quote, world record, unquote, because recorded history is full of mass migration due to wars, due to famine, to disease. Secondly, and it's almost embarrassing that I have to educate and explain to members of Congress and a former president, but when someone says that they're seeking asylum, and they're coming to the United States seeking asylum, that doesn't mean that they're literally coming from a mental institution. Third, Republicans and former President Trump, they don't even know when Trump left office. This chart says that he left April 2020. Trump actually left office in January of 2021 when the numbers were rising and higher, actually even higher than during Obama's second term.
Recently, in the House Homeland Security Committee, she exposed their deception with the precision and intensity we'd love to see in courtrooms across the country.
We can carry on and talk about the other outrageous thing that helps maybe you feel peaceful at night as you and your wife walk along. People aren't coming across maybe on your land because they're able to go to ports of entry. Another way they're able to get into our country is by flying in from other countries. 530,000 inadmissible aliens have flown directly into U.S. airports. Maybe that's why you don't see a giant flow across your land.
Let's get one thing straight. These MAGA charades about border security and protecting America are nothing but distractions. For years, we've watched people like Marge the Trainwreck Greene use the Homeland Security Committee as her personal stage for lies, conspiracy theories, and hollow impeachment stunts. Greene has been out to impeach Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, not because she has a shred of evidence, but because she's addicted to the spotlight. She doesn't care about facts. She only cares about feeding the MAGA machine with whatever keeps the donations rolling in. She's fleecing the undereducated, keeping them riled up and reaching into their pockets, all for her own gain and Trump's twisted agenda. But then Ramirez came in, bringing receipts and demanding accountability. She took MAGA's favorite chart, the one they constantly point to as proof of Biden's open borders, and tore it apart.
Unfortunately, my Republican colleagues choose to use our committee time to spew false narratives, conspiracy theories, and racist tropes that point as immigrants as terrorists. Immigrants, like my mother and my husband, as terrorists, just to score cheap political points. So, look, we should be using this committee to actually discuss how we strengthen the federal government's ability to prevent and respond to terrorist threats by digging into the data and digging into the evidence. Folks, facts matter. We have to stop with the disinformation. But I guess when it comes to making charts for the former president, that doesn't apply. And I'm going to tell you, this committee is a serious committee. We have to use facts.
Ramirez laid out the truth. Economic conditions drive migration, not some fictional open border policy. The facts she presented showed just how deeply the GOP lies run, and she made it clear that truth still matters in this country, even if it doesn't matter to MAGA. What's especially alarming is Project 2025, the GOP's so-called blueprint for America. This is no ordinary policy proposal. It's a direct threat to our democracy. If Republicans get their way, they'll gut the Department of Homeland Security and other key agencies, leaving us vulnerable to threats both foreign and domestic. And they'll fire over 1 million federal workers, stripping away the people who keep this country safe. Under Project 2025, we're looking at a future where the agencies responsible for protecting Americans are gutted to serve an extremist agenda. Imagine an America where border raids happen in schools, hospitals, and churches, where families are ripped apart on MAGA's orders, and there's no one left in Homeland Security to do a thing about it. This isn't about protecting Americans, it's about pushing a warped version where fear and hate rule. Ramirez gets that. And yet, while Delia Ramirez is fighting to protect democracy, Marjorie Taylor Greene and her MAGA colleagues are dragging this country into the gutter. Every time Greene pushes another baseless impeachment, every time she wastes taxpayer money on empty gestures, she's turning Homeland Security into a farce. This isn't just embarrassing, it's dangerous. She's turning crucial time and resources away, basically from real issues, all so she can score political points and keep her followers sending in cash. And the saddest part, her supporters keep buying it. MAGA is a machine that runs on lies, and Greene is one of the biggest cheerleaders. They've conned millions into believing they're defending America, but all they're defending is their own power and bank accounts. They're selling out the very democracy they claim to protect, all while laughing at the people that they've duped. Ramirez, however, is giving us a glimpse of what real leadership looks like. She's demanding that the truth be heard over MAGA's deafening disinformation campaign. She's not afraid to call them out, to expose their empty rhetoric and show the country what they're really after. A government dismantled to serve a con man's vision. The stakes are as high as they've ever been. We're not just talking about policy disagreements here. We're talking about a fundamental fight for the soul of this nation. Project 2025 is an extremist manifesto designed to dismantle our government, rip apart our communities, and force fear down our throats. And people like Delia Ramirez are all that stand between this country and that dark future. It's time to make these leaders, these self-serving frauds, answer for what they've done to this country. It's time they face the same smackdown we saw with Tina Peters. A judgment that says enough. Enough of the lies, enough of the scams, enough of twisting democracy to serve their agenda. America deserves better. And with leaders like Ramirez, we just might have a fighting chance to make it happen. And that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.